Everybody, thanks for joining me as we take a look at your weekend forecast for November 21st to the 23rd. And the weather is looking relatively quiet for the weekend. Today is kind of obviously out there. It's been cloudy, a little bit of drizzle, maybe a flurry or two, but mostly dry with just a couple of sprinkles. And really not a lot of precipitation this weekend. We'll see some flurries overnight Sunday into Monday. But really, we're in a relatively zonal pattern. What do I mean by zonal? Well, generally, you have a pretty big dip in the jet stream here across the west coast, but a lot of across the east coast, relatively west to east flow. We have like a shortwave low pressure system to our northwest, which is moving through with the kind of basically the front, but most of the precipitation with that has been held off to the north of us. I'll show you that in a little bit. And anything that has come out of the southern jet stream currently, and you'll see there is a storm here across this kind of central part of the country, is getting stretched out by the kind of west to east flow and not really affecting us that much here over New England. And when it does, it comes relatively quickly. So that's kind of led to a relatively, like I said, quiet is not the right word, but pattern. But let's take a look at it on satellite. You can see here's that upper level energy. Here's the surface front associated with it, which is mostly moved by to our north now. And you can see this kind of west to east. Now, even though you've got a storm here, and usually storms kind of move from the southwest to the northeast generally across North America when they develop low pressure systems do at least. This storm is mostly being kind of strung out. And when storms aren't able to kind of move to the northeast, they usually kind of do this where the storm gets strung out. Now, sometimes you could have a redevelopment and then a ride up the coast, but the upper level pattern to our east is not conducive to that happening. And so even though it looks like we'd get some rain associated with this storm, it's just not going to happen. And these two storms never were able to phase in with one another. Obviously, when we have northern jet stream energy and southern jet stream energy together, that's usually when we get the big storms. We're a little early for that to start to happen. So although you never know, you certainly can get that kind of stuff this time of year. But right now, we don't have any of that kind of stuff happening. We do have a significant storm across Southern California right now. Has brought a lot of moisture into the Pacific coast of the United States. But that is kind of not moving at the moment really anywhere from where it is. Let's take a look at radar. You can see this as well. Notice with the radar, the shield of precipitation is slowly still moving to the northeast, but you can see how west to east oriented this is. And that really is an indication of how the storm is sliding out to sea south of us. This storm, the storm to the north of us, has mostly not really affected us too much. There's certainly moisture in the air around, and a few sprinkles or flurries are possible, but for the most part, pretty limited in the way that that's going to impact us. And our next storm is not coming from the southern jet stream, but is another storm that's going to be weak and basically not have access to a lot of moisture that's going to impact our area basically Sunday late afternoon and evening and overnight with some flurries, which I don't think will really amount to much, but they will just kind of be there. Let's take a look at this is temperature anomalies at the low levels of the atmosphere, and you can see that currently it's quite warm over lots of North America. And so even though our flow has been from the northwest, we're kind of close to average. You can see right for us, we're right around average actually, and our air is coming at us from basically from southern Canada right now. We're going to be a little bit cooler as we move this area of low pressure on top of us, but that's going to quickly be replaced by air from Canada, which this time of year is usually cold. But because Canada is above average for where we would normally be this time of year, we're not as cold as we would be sometimes with this northwest flow. And so it's going to be on the cool side of average basically this weekend, and a pretty pleasant weekend basically, which is kind of nice. It is the second weekend of rifle season, so if you're out there hunting this weekend, it's a good weekend for that. It'll be cool but not cold, and it will be we'll have some sun, not a ton of sun, but we'll have some sun, and we'll have basically dry conditions in the woods. If you take a look at surface conditions, you can kind of see the same thing. Here's that front that's headed in our direction. Most of the warm front here that's associated with it has actually already moved through, and the low pressure system to our south, which is going to stay to our south. So let's take a look at the actual forecast here. And today, basically, we're up in the low 40s with a couple of sprinkles. I didn't even put like the rain graphic up there, but I do think we could see a sprinkle or two, but they'll be very limited and basically nothing to worry about. Overnight tonight, temperatures fall back to around freezing. We're cloudy to start, but then we clear out pretty good. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds. The storm to our south will be close enough that it does throw some clouds our way, even though we're not going to see a lot of precipitation. Temperatures will be held back a little bit by that. Low 40s. Again, low to mid 40s is probably our average high, so we're just maybe, right around average, but maybe a degree or two below. A little chillier with the clearer skies on Saturday night in the mid 20s. Sunday, a few degrees cooler. That's on the cooler side of average with temperatures in the upper 30s, and then those flurries overnight with temperatures around freezing again. Again, nothing to worry about. I don't think that'll mean any problems on the road Monday morning or anything like that. Let's take a look at weekend details. Quiet weather this weekend. The only chance for precipitation comes as some sprinkles today and flurries Sunday night. Temperatures will be close to normal for this time of November. Saturday and Sunday are dry and good days for the second weekend of rifle season. And next week brings a couple of weaker storms that look mostly wet, not frozen. We're a little bit warmer next week, particularly Wednesday looks kind of warm next week when we get precipitation, but nothing overly dramatic in terms of long range forecast for big potential storms. It doesn't look like. Obviously that can change, but right now travel weather for the middle of next week looks pretty good. I'll have an update for you on that. I know, obviously a bunch of people are traveling, so I'll have an update on Monday for you with your forecast for next week. I do want to give a quick shout out to my patrons. They help support what I do here at the West River Weather Guy. Thank you for your help. And I will be back on Monday with an updated look, or with a look at your work week forecast. And I do appreciate the support. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel before, I'd encourage you to do so. It helps make sure you don't miss any videos. Thank you, and we'll see you on Monday.